Good morning, everybody. I'm going to talk today a little bit about texture and creating texture on surfaces. So this is a couple examples of texture that I have done. This really cool tabletop. I mean, look at this. This is really cool. And so this is created using a texture product that creates texture on furniture. So on this fun piece, you can see I did turquoise and a dark blue and a cream, hello ladies, and a bright pink on top. So that's a really fun way to create texture, is using, this is what it can look like. Let me move this door away. So can you see a really fun way to do lots of different colors and create texture? And it looks like it's actually rough. The product you use when you're making it is rough, but you smooth it down, and you guys, this is super smooth. There's no roughness to this at all. So that is something that you can do. And here is something else that you can do with texture is, see right here, let me put it close. Can you guys see? I know the sun is shining weird, but this one has all sorts of texture too, but it's darker color, so it looks different. So I'm just going to show you this. I have some of this in the booth. So this is one of the texture things that you can buy, Bungalow 47, and I think I have one online, but I have one in the booth. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and mix paint in with my powder. Let me move this out of the way. And there are on the cans and the containers, there's directions of what you should, how you should mix it. But of course I don't, good morning Carrie, I don't follow, you know, I just do my own thing and I just wing things and smash things together. So let me see if that's enough paint. You want it to be thick. And then we're going to put this on something and you'll see what I'm talking about. I need some more paint of how to do this. It's really fun. Now if you don't want to use all sorts of different colors, of course you don't have to. You can just use this to create a textured look. But like I said, it doesn't have to be. This one feels still a little bit textured because I wanted it to be. But like I said, on this one, all these colors, it looks like it's textured, but feeling it, it's super smooth. Hi Janice from Minnesota, excellent. So this is what it looks like right now, and that's a little bit too thick. So I'm going to put a little bit more paint in here. And I'll show you what the consistency should be like. So you don't need, you just need a little bit of powder to paint. And I use, you know, clay mineral chalkish kind of paints for this. So I'm getting close now. I'm getting close to the consistency I want. See, that's pretty thick. I'm going to put just a tad bit more paint. And I think that is now good. But don't worry, there's on the containers, on the packages, it tells you how much to use. So like I said, you can use something like this, or you can use something like this, Saltwash. And Saltwash has a video on their website. So I'm going to show you now what you do. So this is the consistency that I go for. See, it's quite thick, right? Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it on in a dabbing fashion. I'm going to dab. So what I've done, normally I do my base coat in the color I'm going to do my texture in. You don't have to. You can do whatever you want, but this is in the color, I'm pretty sure this was Parlor Drapes, which is this one here. It's a really beautiful color, Parlor Drapes. So this is what you do. You're going to dab on your texture just like this. And you can see it is textured, see? So that's what you want. You want it to be, You want it to be textured. You want those peaks. And we're going to do this whole little piece here. So the whole don't paint it. You're not painting it on. You're dabbing it on. That's the trick. Because you want it to stand up at this point. And you can just use a chippy brush. This is one of the chippy brushes. You know, you don't want to use a fancy brush for this. Just use a cheap chippy brush. So that's looking pretty good. And like I said, you know, if you want to use different colors, you can. Like you can use, my base could have been different colors. I can do different colors with this. So I think that's pretty good. And I'm going to set this aside because I need this to dry just a pinch. And I'm going to come back and show you guys what I'm going to do. But I need to set that aside for just a pinch. And so, so like I said though, like right here, let me see if I can get you guys in a bit closer to this. So right here, I did my paint job in different colors, right? So I did white, I did some pink, and I did some turquoise. And you can do your paint however you want. You can do layers where you're doing one layer first and then you're doing another color. But I think with this one, I think I did different colors. I think I did some white, and then I did some pink, and then I did some blue, kind of all over. And then I did all my texture with, I think it was pink I used. I created a pink texture, right? And I dabbed it all over. And then I came back and I did my swiping technique with the dabbing over the texture. And then I painted over that a couple different colors. So I use a lot of different colors to create this. I think there's 4 different colors on here. And then you sand it. And you sand it all down. If you want it smooth, you can keep going. If you don't want it smooth, then you stop at a certain point. With this, I used here, let me move this up. With this one, I used an electric sander, and that's how I got, see some areas here? Can you see that? Some areas I went straight through all the layers of paint to the underneath wood part. And so that's because I used an electric sander, and that's what you can get this look with a sander. Now with this one, this is more subtle, and I wanted this to be subtle, and I wanted it to be dark. And so with this one, I used just a piece of sandpaper in my hand to give me the textures. So I hope you guys are understanding what I'm talking about. I know the light is terrible. So with this one, I did a dark brown base coat, and then I did my texture of brown, right? I mixed it with my brown paint, and then I did my rolling down like this with my brush. I'll show you that. And then I came with black paint, and over top everything when it was dry, I did black paint. And that's why it looks black and brown. You can't really tell, but because the light's so bad, but it's black and brown, and that's for my horse buffet that I was showing you guys. That's what that's from. So I think this is probably still a little bit wet, but let me see. Anybody have any questions? Just let me know. We need this to be a tiny bit more dry. Let me go get a brush. So I'm gonna brush this. You won't want it, it's a little bit tricky to figure out when to do this. You don't want it dry. You need this texture to be a little bit wet, but you also don't want it super wet, because then your brushing technique won't really work that well. So I'm not quite sure. Let's see if this is going to work. Okay, do you see that? Do you see? Oops, there's a hair. Let's get that hair out. Do you see what's happening here? So typically you don't want this look when you're painting. This is exactly what you don't want. You don't want to brush when your paint is drying, right? You don't want to go over your paint. But in this situation, we do want this because this is how we're creating the texture on our furniture, is with this product, and you're doing the brushing down, and see how it's kind of all globbing together. That's what we want. We want all those globs. So I can see right here, I needed to let it sit for a second longer. It's too wet. So over here it looks better. Whoops. I think I got the paint on the texture really thick there. Okay, so see how that is very thick and really textured. That's what we want when we're trying to do this. So I now need to let this dry, and then once this is totally dry, I come over top of this with the color that I want, which is the color I'm going to come back and sand, you guys. So you need to decide if I want this to be the underneath, if I want my green now is the underneath color, right? And I'm going to come back and do a different color on top. I can do whatever color I want. So this now is going to pop through when I distress. Do you guys know what I mean? So like right here, this is what I did here, right? I came back on top with, I think it was the turquoise. Once all this texture dried, I used different colors. I used cream and pink. And I came back afterwards, my top color was this really bright turquoise color. So once all my texture dried, I came back and painted my turquoise, and then I came, like I said, in this case with an electric sander, and I sanded it back. And look at this, all these really cool funky colors and the cool funky look there. This is what it created. And it's super smooth because I did a lot of sanding. Now in this situation, this texture here, the buffet with the horses, I didn't want it to be, I wanted it to be dark, right? So I just used a piece of sanding block in my hand, and I did it with my piece of sandpaper in my hand, and I painted it black, and I took my sandpaper and I took off some of the black with the sandpaper to reveal all the brown texture underneath. So this is a really good way to create this look. You can do it with dark colors, you can do it like this and create some really fun, funky looks with different colors. So that's it, you guys. That is what I wanted to tell you guys about today. Like I said, there's probably lots of paint companies sell texture. This is the one, Bungalow 47 is the paint that I sell at my booth. So if somebody local wants to buy it, there's some at the booth. I have one package online. Or if you don't want that, then you can get Saltwash. That's an online company you can order from. So there you go. That's some fun stuff. And so once this totally dries, I'll work on this and post a photo of what I do. But I probably will do cream on this just so you guys can see what it looks like. If you use a light color on dark, the dark color is going to pop through when you sand all this. So anyways, just some fun things to tell you guys about. And let's see, I will show you some other things I am working on. I'm out here in the garage. Let me try and switch the camera around. So we are making shelves for our kitchen. So this is a shelf we built. We actually have two. So this is it here, and I did the gel stain on top, and so this is going to go, it's a really big shelf we are putting in our kitchen. See? So it's going to hold dishes and stuff, and this is what it looked like before. It's just a regular old piece of, not old, but piece of wood from Home Depot, cheap piece of wood, except that you can see we chose a really thick piece of wood, right? Because this is going to be in the kitchen, it's going to hold dishes, so we want it to be really strong. So this is the gel stain, you guys, and that's what we're working on. My husband's just building the brackets, and so that's what this is. And something else I'm working on, this is the buffet. I think I showed you guys how to do the stain, and so now I put the protective coat on, and I'll talk about that too later, but I'm working on this too. This is the buffet. So I am going to do some turquoise colors, and I'm bringing in, right around here, I'm bringing in mica powder, and I'll show you how to do mica powder. I'm bringing in gold mica powder and black wax, and I'll tell you how to do that. And I have a problem here. Oops, there you are. The internet's going to cut off. Right here, see this drawer? It's got this old green liner, so I have to figure out I have to figure out how to get this off, at least on this side here. So lots of things are happening, and that is what I'm working on, you guys. So thanks for joining me. Try the texture sometime. Bye.